All right. Now, what we are going to be doing right now, from now on, it will be formula after formula. Now, some of these formulas that I'm going to be showing you, they might not make sense at the very beginning. But I want just you to understand how they work, because these are the same units that we're going to use to build a bigger constructive formula. Okay? So now, I'm going to show you how some bits of formulas work. Then from there, by the time we get into the other ones, we'll see how we can be able to join them with other formulas. So in a case that I want to be able to count the number of rows in a record. So for not necessarily a record, but in a list. I've got a list, but I want to be able to count how many rows are there. There is an easier way to do that using the rows formula. So if I say equals, then I say rows, then I select my list, which means clicking and dragging to highlight my list. Then I close by pressing the close bracket, then I press enter. It's able to tell me how many rows I have. You see that? So now what I will ask of you is that don't try it right now, but just focus on me as I'm explaining this. I want you to be able just try by all means just to be able to focus on me. Okay? Alright. So if I try to do it again and say equals, then I say rows, then I highlight only Sunday and Monday there. Then I close, press enter, it will tell me those are 2 rows. So it is a formula for counting rows. It's a formula that you use to count rows. And if there's a formula to count rows, there's also a formula to count columns. Now, what is that formula? It just equals columns then highlight columns which I'm dealing with. Probably if these are the columns I'm dealing with, press enter, and I'm able to know that I'm dealing with 3 columns. Okay? That's how you use the rows and columns formula. Let us look at another one. Now, there is a formula which you use to offset. For instance, when you can write a formula to say, okay, get me the last record. But when you find me the last record, I want you to jump 2 times back. When you jump 2 times back, then I want you to jump 2 times to the right to get me what is there. So it means if I get Friday as an answer, because I want to use offset, I can say when you get the last record, which is Friday, I want you to jump 2 steps back, which is 1, 2, it falls on Thursday. When it falls on Thursday, I want it to jump again 2 steps forward going to the right, which means it's going to be 1, 2. Gets October there. You might not know how to use it right now, but there will be a time that you will need it. Okay? So that is the offset formula, offset. So how does it go? Just say equals offset. Now, when you're saying you want to offset, you have to be able to indicate your reference. The beauty of Excel formulas is that as you are writing a formula, it is able to show you or give you direction. So right now I'm saying offset. Now, the first thing that I want to do is to select the reference. What is my reference? My reference is that, Friday. Okay. When I do that, I put comma. So how many rows should I put offset? Now remember, if you are going against the gradient, it's a negative, isn't it? But if you're going, like for instance, if I'm going 1, 2, 3, it's positive. Then if I start to go backwards, it becomes a negative, isn't it? Okay? So in this case, I'm I'm saying the number of rows that it's supposed to offset is 2. So which means it's supposed to go up. Now this is designed in such a way that it's going 1, 2, 3, going down. So if it's going backwards, which means it becomes a negative. So probably I'll say -2. So I want it to go back 2 times. Okay? So it goes back 2 times, comma, that is on the rows. Alright? Now there is columns. So for columns, if I want it to go to the left side of the screen, it becomes negative also. But if I want it to go to the right side, it becomes positive. So in this case, I want it to go to the right side. So if it has gone 2 times back, I want it to go 2 times to the right, which means I give it a 2 also. Then I can cross. If I press enter, it gives me 43. Why? Because it offsetted 1, 2. That is for the row. For the rows, then 1, 2, that is for the columns. Okay? If I probably come here and say where there is this Friday here, I replace this with, let's say Tuesday. Okay? Tuesday is G5, isn't it? So this, when I say G5, I mean this, that. Okay? Now, if Friday is G8, which means I just come here and change the 8 to 5. So which means the reference has changed to Tuesday. So since my reference has changed to Tuesday, what answer should it give me? 1, because an offset from Tuesday to go 1, 2, then that side just like that. Okay? So let's try to say the row is not going to be negative. It's not going to go backwards, but go forward, which means it has to go down here. So I press enter. It returns to us 8. Why? From Tuesdays 1, 2, then going to the, on the columns, going to the right, it becomes 1, 2. Then you get 8. Alright? That's how the offset formula works. Okay? Let us look at another one. Now, when you're given data, for instance, you're in a system whereby your data comes in the, it's like in a raw format. Now you want to change it into a column format. For instance, you've got names. Now these names have been lined up in rows, which means the name is there, the other name is there, the other name is there, just like that. But what you wanted they should do, be in a column, in a row. Do you understand that part? Okay, let me probably run it back. Let me say we've got these names. I'm going to copy these names. Then I will do this. Okay. Obviously, these are the list of names. But the way they have been given to you, you don't like them. You want them to be in a column. Now, if you want them to be in a column, when you're dealing with Excel, you can be able to shift them. By that shift, what you do is what you call transpose. Now, how do you transpose data? Like this data here, since I've already highlighted it, I can copy it. Right? When I copy this data and say I want to make it into rows, I can come there, right click there, then I come and say transpose. So I'm pasting as transpose. Then the data changes its shape. So if I do that, I've transposed my data. Okay? I repeat. I want to change this data. Escape. I want to change this data from being landscape to being like portrait. Right? So Control Shift, left arrow, to highlight, Control C to copy. Now I want to paste it here. So where I want to start from, that's where I click. Then I right click. Then I come to pasting options. Then I go to transpose. That's how you shift data. Even if the data is in rows, you can also shift it also into columns. Alright? Okay. Let's go back to where we were. Alright. Now, here, I want to transpose this data, but I want to transpose it using a formula. There is a formula for transposing data. Now, if you're doing that, to transpose data, for instance, I've got this table. Now I want to transpose it. How I do that, I have to be able to measure to say, okay, I've got four rows and I've got 3 columns. So which means where I'm going to transpose it on, it means that my rows become 3 because it's going to change directions, right? Then my columns becomes 4, isn't it? Like that, isn't it? Okay. You highlight them like that. Now, when you have them highlighted, without pressing anything, you start by saying equals, then you say transpose. Now, when you're typing a formula and it shows up and it's at the top of the list, you can just press the tab button to accept the suggestion. Okay? So I press tab. Now, what is this array, or what is this data that I want to transpose? This is the data which I want to transpose here. I highlight it. You see that? Then I close. But now, this is important. For you to enter this data, for it to work out, you don't just press enter. No. You press Control Shift Enter. Because transpose, you're dealing with an array. Now, for now, you may not be able to understand it. It's fine. As we go on, you understand why you don't have to just press enter. Because when you just press enter right now, it will give you an error. But it's supposed to be Control Shift Enter. Okay? So I come back here on my transpose. So because of that error, even my highlighted what has been disturbed. So let me highlight. Okay, it was 3 by 4. Okay. Then I say equals. Then I say transpose. My array is that one. Shift close. Control Shift. Then enter. Then the data is twisted. So you see days, month, number. They have been changed. That's how you transpose an array of data. Okay? Let us look at other small formulas. Excel has the ability to refer to something indirectly. How it's happening is to say, go and check what cell is in there, in that cell. Like, I can name a cell. For instance, I'm here. I want to pick this number, right? Now, because I want to pick this number, I can read. This number is what? C12, right? This cell here is C12, isn't it? So I write the C12 here on a different cell. Okay? Now that I've written the cell on this cell on a different cell here, I can write a formula which can go and look at what cell is in here, so that it can pick the value which is in there. Well, it's simpler when you're doing it. Look at this. You do equals. Then you say indirect. Now when I press indirect, it tells me reference text. Now my reference text is this one here. Have you seen? There it's B12, but it's checking what is in the B12, isn't it? Okay, so I close. So when I press enter, what will it return? The value that is in B12, which is this one there. It's an indirect way of getting data by using a cell reference. At times, this is powerful when you don't want some data to be seen. You can be able to make a reference to a particular data in a different sheet. So it can just go and pick from there. You are doing an indirect way. Okay? All right. So that's how it works. So if I want to pick for this one, I can just do this angry rabbit. I just drag it down. It will still be able to pick for the other ones. Let me just give it a small recap. I'm using the indirect formula. So I say indirect. I'm picking this cell because I want to pick what is in there. So I come and I pick that cell, then I close, then I press enter, then it's able to pick this. If I come here and change this, it will automatically change. If I look at here, have you seen the name, the word which is here is rows. The name of the cell is what? T3, isn't it? If I come here and where there is C12, I put D3. Why is it not typing? D3. I press enter. What's happening? Introduction. Okay. Where is that? Where is that one? I say D3. Okay. So if I put D3 now, it makes a reference to another. Now you see that the word which is there, rows, has been brought up in there. You have seen that. Okay. Let us move on. Rows we've done. Okay. Now, in a case that you want your formula, the formula which has been used in a cell to show, you can use what you call the formula text formula. How does it work? If I come here, have you seen that here there's a formula which is doing the sum? Now, if I want to see this formula here, how can I do it? I can just say equals, then I say formula text. I'm referring to that cell which has got the formula. Press enter, it will show me the formula which is in the cell. Okay? It's just equals formula text. So if I come here and say equals, here where I wrote the same formula again, formula text, I can click there, sorry, equals formula text for this one there. Press enter. It will show me the formula which is there. You get that. Make sense? Okay. All right. Let us look at more examples. You remember the trim function? The trim function. Do you remember it? It was yesterday. All right. The trim formula. The trim formula, we use it for what? Okay, so I say trim, then I select the text, I press enter. You might not see any difference there, but you'll see it when we come to the other one. So we drag that same formula there. You understand the part of dragging, right? Okay, so you see that all the spaces that were before have been removed. That's how the trim works. Now this is cool and it's fun. When you're in a situation whereby you're being told to say, okay, generate some dummy data. For instance, you're dealing with, I don't know, let me give it a basic one. You're a teacher and you want to generate random scores for the students. Probably you want to do a presentation or something. So to do random scores, I can use what you call the rand between. The rand between allows you to generate random numbers between a particular range. So in this case, I want to generate rand between, okay? So it's first asking me, what's the bottom? So my bottom number probably in my class should be 30%, comma, the highest should be about 92. Yeah? So it will generate random numbers between that. You see that 75? It was randomly generated. So I can drag this same formula down and everyone receives random numbers. I have generated random numbers for each student using the rand between. Okay? It can be between 10,000 and 90,000. All those. You can do all those. It's just for generating random numbers. Now, you've found yourself in a situation that the data that has been given to you is in small letters, but they want it to be in capital letters. Now, these are 10,000 rows of data. Are you going to manage to John's capital letters? You won't manage, right? Now, there's the simplest way to do this. How? I want them to become capital letters. I just say equals, then I say upper, then select the text that I want to change into capital letters. Enter, it goes to capital. I can just run it down and everyone is changed. Upper equals upper, then you're able to do that. What if it has been given to you in capital letters, you want to have it in small letters? Just the same thing, equals lower. Then you click on that one, enter, you have small letters. Double click it, and you have that. What if you want only the first letter to be capitalized? What do? What's the keyword? Nobody wants to take a guess. It equals proper. Then you select your text, press enter, and all your texts will become capitalized at the very beginning. Okay. Let us look at more examples. In a case that you're given a data, now this data you've got probably the first name and the last name, and they're in different cells. So you have been asked to say, let the names be one. Let them be put together in one cell. What do? It's simple. You use what you call concatenation. That is getting that and getting that, putting it together. You have concatenated. How does it go? It's equals. So the first way you can do it is by equals. You select one name, then you put the sign or ampersand. That sign, the and sign, Then you select the other one that you want to concatenate it to. When you do that, you press enter, and the first name and the last name are put together. But already you're seeing a problem because there is no spacing between the names. So how do we solve that problem? We come back here. Where we have put ampersand there, we also add a space. Now, a space is a string in Excel. So if it is a string, it is considered more like a text. So if you want to put a text in a formula, it has to be in quotation marks. Double quotations. So I'm going to add a space. How? Just after the ampersand, I put double quotation, then space, another double quotation. Now, I've just put a space. But that space, I need also to concatenate it to the other side. So I put also the ampersand there. Because when you're joining three things, you have to put an ampersand, you put the other one, then put ampersand, then put the other one, isn't it? Because ampersand is the way you're joining it. So just as I've done there, then you press enter, you see that the two are put together and there's a space. Okay, so as the first goes, so the rest, you just double click there and all the names are put together. Okay, if that is too hard for you to be able to do, you can use the formula, this formula which says concatenate, then you select that, then you put comma, then you select that, then you close. But also you still have the same problem to say a space in between. Okay? So that space, you put double quotations, space, double quotations, then comma there. Because you're adding a character of a space, right? Then you press enter, you have your space in between your numbers. That is concatenation. It will save your life someday. Okay. All right. Now that you have learned how to put two words together, how do you separate two words? You have learned to put them together, but now how do you separate them? Before I do this one, any question? So far, what we have done. Is there any question? Is there a part that you say, okay, this part I not understood, how you did it? I need you to go back to it. Yes, sir. Transpose. Transpose. Okay. Is it not because you were late or just because I didn't explain it? You were late. Okay, we'll pick it up from the videos. The video, you still have the video. You'll be able to check it. But I want to say, okay, this part I wasn't clear how you did it. And you're saying, okay, this is the part. We can be able to. I will go back. Offset. Okay. Let's go to offset. Okay, so when we come to offset, I want you to see this is the formula. This is the formula we have there. Are you able to see clearly? Okay, so offset, what it's simply doing is that from, from the point of reference, that point of reference you are, how many steps do you want me to move away from it? Using the rows? Then when I move away using the rows, how many do you want me to move away using the columns? That's what we are doing here. So, I get that point. There are times when you write a very big formula, such that when data just comes in, it quickly populates it, analyzes it, and puts it, probably you align it from top to bottom. So when you find the bottom person, you want to get the third last person in that list. All this is in the formula. Now, how do you get that third last person in the list? Because this data, you're given raw data, you've written formulas already in advance to analyze it. To say, okay, when you've analyzed the data, change it and sort it from A to Z or from smallest to biggest. But me, my interest in this data is to get the last, the bottom, the third last person in the list. How do I get that? So I'll say, go to the last record or last person in this record. When you find that last person, I want you to offset 2 times and give me back that person. That's how you can be able to use offset. But if you write that big formula, then you come and put offset there, you'll be like, how does this formula work? So doing bit by bit, so that you understand them from. Okay. All right. So have you understood it? All right. Okay. If there's no another question, I proceed. Yes, please. On the what? Concatenation. Yes. Sorry. Okay. So I'm here. There's this one, this formula here. Have you seen it? Okay. All right. Okay. So are we okay? Now these things you might not be 100% okay, but they just need a recap. That's why we have the video. Okay. All right. So we have done that. Now let us go on separating words. Now, before we start separating, I want to show you at least 2 formulas. Okay, I want to show you 2 formulas. This is 3 formulas, which is len, right, and left. Okay, now len is able to count how many characters are in a word. How does it work? If I come here say len equals len, then I select that, and I press enter, it's telling me how many characters are there. It tells me 11 characters. But all of you will find 10 characters, isn't it? Isn't it? All you are seeing is 10 characters, isn't it? But it's showing you 11 characters. Why? Because it's considering the space. So if I come here, I increase the space. I press away. the number of characters increases. Okay? This is why there's a trim function such that unnecessary space is out. Okay? Now, let's do some magic here. Deal with me. Because I've got this, because I've got spaces in there, I can come and I can do this. Have you seen I've said len? But within the len function, I can put the trim function. So that I can remove all unnecessary spaces as it calculates the length. Here the length is still, the spaces are still there. So inside there I can put trim. Trim what? That. Then I close for the trim and I also close for the len. So if I press enter, you get 11. Despite the spaces. So if I come here, I increase the spaces, I move away, nothing changes. Because trim does the job for me. Now you see, we're already combining formulas now. The trim and the len. Okay? So, well, the formula, it's here. Len, open bracket. Inside there, I put the trim. Then, I do that. Okay? So you have seen how the trim and the len they work. Let's just maintain the one space. So we have known how to do the len, which is the length. But there is also another way, another formula, which is called the right. Now the right, you use it to get a number of characters. Probably, like if I want from the right side, I only want to get 5 characters of this word. You will only pick 5 characters. So I say right, which text am I dealing with? That. Comma. How many characters do I want to get? I want to get 2 characters from the right side. When I close, press enter, it gives me dark. Where is dark coming from? You see it? Okay. That is for the, so if I click on this, I run it down, it will do that for all those. Then there's also the left. I say left of this. I want to get how many characters? 2 characters also. If I press enter, it gives me that. Now you see this already that it can solve a problem for you. For those people whose first names they don't write in the phone, they just say T Musonda, B Mwale. You can do this. Whereby, where there is a first name, you put that, you only pick the first one. Instead of going one by one, you can just say, get the first letter. Okay? Do we get it? Let me make it practical. I think this one you might get to use it. Let's come here. We've got 2 names here. We have got Jones and Banda, right? So I want to be able to say, it should say J Banda, isn't it? Now how does that work? One, I have to concatenate them, but again I still have to get only the first letter that side. So what I will do is that I'll say equals, then I'll say concatenate. What do I want to concatenate? This one, Jones, right? But I don't want just to pick it as Jones. I want to pick it as left. Then I say Jones, comma. How many characters do I want to pick? 1. Then I close the left. Then I put comma. When I put the comma, I want to put the space in between, right? So I come here and put the space, comma. Then I want to put Banda, right? Okay. Now, if I do that, I press the cross button. And if I press enter, I have J Banda. Does it make sense? We did this formula separately, right? So you understand how they work independently on their own, right? So I said I want to concatenate. Now what do I want to concatenate? I want to concatenate Jones and Banda. But I don't want Jones to be the full name. I just want to be J Banda. So have you seen this part where I've put left here? This is just the part where I was going just to put Jones, isn't it? But then Jones, I want him to be on to pick only the J. So for that to happen, that's why I had to put the left. Then I pick the same Jones. Then comma, what character? One character. Then I close. Then I do a comma. The rest you know. Okay. It's getting simpler and simpler. Alright. So that's how you do that. Okay. So now let's go and separate these names. Right? I've shown you how the len works. I've shown you how the left works. I've shown you how those work. So I delete these. What I even did, I even put the formula for you there. So now, what I want to do is to say, I want to pick this text. But when I pick this text, I want to pick the first characters before the space. When I pick the first characters before the space, because you see that John's Banda has got a space, right? So I want to pick the first characters before the space. Now, how does it work? Excuse me. So I'm going to say equals, then I say left. Now, left of what text? This text there. Then I say comma. Now, I want to find, what do I want to find? I want to find an empty character, or the space character. So I say find, what character do I want to find? Space. How do you indicate a space? Quotation, double quotation, space, double quotation. Then I say comma. So this space which I want to find, where do I want to find it? I want to find it in there. You see that? So when I find it in there, what should be the start number? 1, the first space. Then I close for the find. Then I also close for the left. So when I press enter, it brings me Jones. Now, let me show you how this is working in the background. Okay? Look at this. Have you seen this formula here? What it's doing, when it says find, this find here, I'm going to highlight this find here. I want you to see what it's going to return. Okay? Because it's going to count what number of character is the space at. So for you to know what is returning in the background, you just press F9. When you press F9, you see that it shows you 6. It tells you, what it's telling you right now is saying, go to the left side, pick, on this text, pick the first 6. Are you seeing that? Control Z. The find is looking for a particular character in the text. When it finds that character, it counts 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, so number 5 is 5. So it retains a number. When that number is retained, it is now sent to the left function to say, in that text, get this number of characters on the left side. That's how it's working. Okay, let me just do this one. Let me do this. I press enter, get John's, right? If I come here, you have seen that there is Dorcas there, right? So I want it to find 0 in Dorcas, right? So I say equals, then I say find. What do I want to find? I want to find this character O, isn't it? Now I told you O is a letter, right? So it's a string, so you put double quotes, comma. What within which text? That text. Okay? Then I close it. Then it tells me 2. So if you count from D, 1, 2, O is at 2, isn't it? You see that? So if I was to put, I come here, where there is a G and O, I put a space, I press enter. You see that O has gone to 3. Space is a character. So if I come here on this function, and I remove the O and I replace it with a space, I press enter, it will tell me 2. That's where the space is. You see that? This is what we are doing here. All these surnames, first name and surname, they've got a space between them, isn't it? So I'm saying, go and find that space. When you find that space, return to me all those characters before the space. That's how it brings back. So if I come here, if I run it down like this, all of them will come out open. Okay. We have known how to find the first name or the first name before the in the 2 words, whether it can be 3 or 4, there's no problem. Now let us separate. What are we going to separate? The surname. We want the surname to be on its own. How do we do this? What I want us to do is that when we find the length of these characters here, I want to subtract the length of the first name from the length of this one. But when you subtract that length of the first name, what I'll remain with is what will be my surname. How is it working? So let's find the length of the first name, which is equals len. I click on that. So it tells me that it's 6, right? Then that one tells me it's 7. What? Don't worry, because it was also picking with the space, right? That's why you are seeing it like that. Okay? So I found this length here. So what I'm going to do is that I want to find the length of this one. Then when I find the length of this one, I want to subtract the length of this one. So when I subtract that, it will give me the answer which I want. So I'm going to say, as we're doing all this subtraction, what I'm going to get is what is going to be on the right side. Okay? Which is the surname. So I say right. When I say right of what? Of this. You see that? Then I say comma. What number of characters? There now, this is where we introduce the length. So the length of what? So I say length of this same one here. So if I find the length of this one, I close there. I want to subtract this length here. So I'll say minus this length. then I close. So you just have to make sure that you have closed for all of them. So if you press enter, it returns to you the surname for all of them. This is how it's working. Here I'm going on the right side of this. When I go on the right of this side of this, I'm saying subtract the length of this whole text minus the length of the first name. When you subtract these, those number of characters here, when I come here, let me just highlight this part here. Only that part. When I press F9, see that it is returning to you 5. So it's telling you that on the right side, take 5 characters. Data analysis. Control Z. Any question? Any question? Sir. Are you understanding how it is working? I'm not saying you have mastered this already, but are you understanding how it is working? But are you understanding how it is working? How these components are coming together to work? how, how do we make it simpler? Let's see if this will help. Let's do this. I'll dismantle these formulas so they work one by one. Then, okay? So I come here, I remove this, I delete that. So remember, this is the length for this one, right? So here I want to find the length of that one, right? Okay? Because I press enter, then if I do this, I find their length, right? So what we have here is this minus that one, right? 11 minus 6, right? Then we have got 12 minus 7. Then that, like that. Is it working? Are you seeing it? Okay. So when I do this minus this one, the number which I'll get here, I'm saying equals to this one minus this one. I'm getting 5 there, isn't it? 5, 7, 11, 12. Okay. Are you seeing that? So what I am saying here, when I'm using the right, equals right of this formula here, of that text there, comma, get how many characters? 5 characters, right? Then I close. I press enter. That's how I get the bundle there. So if I run it down, that's how I get all those. Yes, please. Yes. Yes. Very much possible. I can. Now, if I come here where there is banda there, here where there is, I clicked on the cell, right? So here I replace it with 5, right? I press enter. I'm saying you still get band, right? So if I run it down, like this, you see what the problem? Yes. That's how you have to make the test. So now we have dismantled this, the length for this one, the length of that one. Now what we are doing here is this. Here, when we say right of this, comma. Now here we want to say, we want to pick the length of this one. So what we can do is this. Where there's 5 there, we remove the 5. We're removing the 5. So I'm going to pick 11 here. Have you seen that? Then I say minus 6. You see that one? If I press enter, it's still working, right? It's working, right? So which means I no longer need this, isn't it? I can delete that. Doesn't affect my data there. You see that? Have you seen that? So I'm picking the length of this one minus that one. Now stay with me, because we are working our way back to the formula. You can't do this when you go back. Okay? I'm just showing you the stages. So if I come to here, have you seen that here where there is 11 here, there is a formula for length, right? Isn't it? So where there is this 11, which is L61, I'm going to remove the L61, and put len. Okay? Len of what? Of this one here. You see that? Then I close. I press enter. You still get that one, isn't it? So if I run it down, cancel. Okay. If I run it down, we still have the formula. There's no problem, right? So I come and remove this. We no longer need you. We delete it. You see that one? Okay, we're still working our way back. If I double click on this formula, have you seen this K61 here? It's the length of this one, right? So I can remove, I can get the formula of this one to subtract this here. So I can come and remove this and say len of John's there. Then I close the bracket there. And if I press enter, I still have it. So if I run it down, there is no problem, right? So which means I no longer still need this, right? So I delete this. It's out. We are still working on it to a point that we don't also need this. Because remember, for us to get this, we have to put this formula here. Are you seeing this formula here? Find left chan. If I want, I can come and copy this formula here. This same formula which we used. Have you seen that left? Don't copy the equals also. I copy that. When I copy that, I come into this formula. Control C. I copy that. Okay. Escape. I come to Banda here. Have you seen where there is length? Then it's pointing to this John's. I can remove this letter which is there. I can remove J16 and replace it with the formula I copied. Then I can press enter and I still have the answer. So if I run it down, I'm still able to find the last name. So which means I no longer need this. You'll get it in the rest of the video. Alright? So far, there is no question, right? Yes. Yes, it will delete because it's dependent. It's very much dependent. Oh, I had to paste it. If you come here, have you seen this is the one here? You remember the lane? I said I removed that, then I pasted the formula here. Because let me do this. If I do this, you'll see it in straight. This is the whole entire formula. Have you seen it? Yes. So this part here, let me show you. This part is saying left. This part up to this part here. Which part? Up to the purple part there. Okay. That whole thing is only returning to you the last name, the first name. So if I press F9, you said you see Jones there. That's Jones there. Then Jones is being counted. His length is being counted. How is it being counted? If I come here, I highlight the length of Jones palm. So I'm highlighting the length of Jones up to the red. Then I press F9. It gives me 6. You see that? Then that 6 is being, when you come to this here, where there's lane here, this is the lane for the entire name, right? The first name and the last name. So if I come there, I press F9, it gives me 11. You remember now those which we're having there? Yes. So when I come here, 11 minus 6, 11 minus 6, F9, gives me 5. Then this formula now, this entire formula here, F9, gives you 1. Don't worry, you'll check it out. You'll check it out. Okay. All right. What time is it? 6:34. We're going to the next. Which one? Let's deal with the if formula. If. Okay. All right. For now, try to probably show your friend what you've gotten. Just for about 5 minutes. Let me just relax our mind a bit. Try to show. Give me a open this one. If not, tell them about your home. That's